I realized that success requires an adversary. Every one of us, to be successful in our life, has had to navigate quite a tumultuous time in our life, whether by disease or by our finances, our marriages, our relationships, our jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And you think, why, if things could be so much smoother, my life would be so much better. And there is a very distinct Torah wisdom that shows us that adversaries, or the adversary, helps to buffet us and to improve us. So I will briefly describe, why does our success require an adversary? First of all, we take a look at Amalek. Is basically the transmigratory group of souls that hate God, hate law, hate order, and they do not wish to do the will of God in their life. Now, Amalek may not survive today as a people group, but it survives today at its most basic element, the Yetzer Harar, the negative inclination, the adversary of our body. We gain our free will from such adversity. We gain wisdom from such adversity. So the nation of Amalek, there is really nothing good, no redeemable matter to them at all. And these traits have no real counterpart on the side of good and must ultimately be gotten rid of entirely. But the question would be is, why have we not been able to get rid of Amalek, and why to this day do the Jewish people still remember these horrible people? Haman's name is negated in the celebrations of Purim, and we have this idea of Xing out his name. But we realize now, as mature human beings, that what tests us and what tries us improves us. In some aspect, I hope that the lesson today will help point us to the reality that our adversary, our difficulty, is actually what improves us and brings goodness in our life. Exodus, the 13th chapter, starts off by saying this: "Now when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by the way of the Philistines, although it was nearer, for God said, the people may have a change of heart when they see war and return to Egypt." And we'll remember that the Midrashic text talks about that a group of people left Egypt, and decided to go fight their way through back into the land of Canaan. And instead, they ended up coming into battle with the Philistines, and there was carnage all over the place. There were still weapons of warfare on the ground, and they, were concerned that the Israelites would get there and their heart would turn and they would run. So God led the people a roundabout way, it says in verse 18, by the wilderness of the Sea of Reeds. Now the Israelites went up armed. And now this word, bamushim, is kind of uncertain, but it is given the idea of arms. They were prepared to go to battle. So if they were prepared, why not go ahead and prepare to attack? And it says, and Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had excited an oath from the children of Israel, saying, God will be sure to take notice of you when you carry my bones out of here. So already the Israelite people are getting ready to start their great journey of delivery. And it seems that Pharaoh has given up the desire to entrap Israel. Now, we all know that according to Midrashic sources, that yes, he said they could go, but only for 3 days. I mean, we're talking about a 3 days journey in the desert, maybe 40, 50, 60 miles at max, not on the other side of the country next to the Red Sea. And so this is why he decided to attack. Sandy asked a great question on Sunday, I believe, to Rabbi Wobe, asking, well, if Pharaoh repented, if he did tshuva, then did he really? Because it seems that he turned around and went to attack Israel. What's the point of that? Well, the reason why we understand is that Israel's history is full of adversity. From its very beginning, full of adversity. And we too, as people of the world, if we want to gain the higher wisdom, we would also look at Israel to see that a great successful people comes out of a tremendous amount of struggle and insecurity at times. Having an adversary in life can actually be beneficial. Why is it beneficial? Well, it pushes us to grow, reach our full potential. We look at football teams or soldiers or anybody who succeeds in a great way pushes and challenges their body and their mind to the greatest extent. Now, we talk all the time about these very special warfare soldiers, this Navy SEALs, the Tier 1 operators who go through a tremendous crucible of training to somehow train up their mind to ignore the very horrible challenges that are ahead of them. And they are great and successful. You see, adversaries challenge you to improve yourself, or adversity challenges you. When you face opposition, you're forced to refine your skills and sharpen your strategies and work harder. This competition keeps you from becoming complacent and drives innovation. This is why some of the greatest innovators of our time have been great warriors. And also people in success of business, their success is often pocked by great difficulties and bankruptcies and failures. We remember great athletes who had the greatest home runs, but when you compared their records of their times of getting, struck out, were grander than their home runs. So we have to realize that there is a balance to this. For every light that comes into the world, there's equal darkness to help balance out free will. Now, what does the adversary or what does the adversarial work do in our life? They actually reveal your weakness. One of the greatest assets to developing Torah wisdom in your own personal growth is recognize when your weaknesses are being exposed. If you have weaknesses, do you realize that even your enemy can focus on your weakness and point it out? A lot of people feel, well, because this person who I disagree with or is my enemy brought out a weakness, therefore it must be wrong, it can't be correct. But if we think that way, we're not thinking within the parameter of higher level of consciousness and wisdom. Strong adversity can cause flaws in your thinking and behavior and your approach. This allows you to correct your mistakes and become stronger, realizing that I've made some mistakes and I need to make that correction. Whenever someone, and here's one of the greatest things, and Tar will recognize this, anybody that's been married for any particular period of time will know that your spouse can often point out flaws that are not very pretty. And you don't want to admit that you have those flaws. But a wise human being looks at the critique of a spouse and makes the changes. It should fuel your motivation. Many successful people use challenges posed by their adversity as fuel to push them forward. Something that says, I'm going to win and I'm going to change my focus to do what I need to do. This desire to prove others wrong can be a very powerful motivator. As good and righteous people, we should be motivated by the challenges that come into our life to realize this is here for a purpose and a real reason. Number 4, there is adversity teaches you resilience. Facing adversity builds mental toughness and endurance and emotional endurance, and overcoming opposition prepares you for bigger challenges in the future. I don't understand why the creator of the universe designed creation as it is and put us as living souls in this crucible of human flesh to go through a period of time in our life of some difficulty, some joys, some excitement, some success, but yet in the end you die. And from wisdom, from the Torah, we discover that that is not the end of all things. Matter of fact, this here is merely just a preparation ground, a ground in which you bring improvement to your soul. So there must be something here on this earth with adversarial challenges that helps to improve us for the world to come. It not only helps us to improve now, but it helps us in the world to come. They help you to define your values. They actually help you to understand what do you clearly believe and how do you clearly stand on your principles and beliefs and goals. It causes you to maybe refocus your goals or maybe refocus your principles and ask, am I truly grounded in a proper set of virtues that help me succeed? It forces you to ask the question, what do I stand for? What is truly important to me? Challenges do that to the human being. They also drive creativity and innovation. And if you know anything about what we call barnyard ingenuity, it's about learning how to duct tape and using baling wire to fix a tractor. The idea is you figure it out. There are ways to get around an obstacle. I remember particularly one time during the Gulf War, my driver and I are driving into Iraq and we're going over a mountain range. We were by ourselves and I don't know why, it was stupid. But we hit a big bump and all of a sudden our radiator and it started overheating. And we call it a Cut V, but it was really a Ford or no, a Chevy Blazer, diesel Blazer, okay, heavy duty truck. And we immediately raised the hood and saw that the battery mount had a huge, huge industrial battery, and it broke off and cut a hole in the water hose. And there's water going everywhere. And we're thinking, what are we going to do? You know, do we have extra water? So we had bottles of water, but we got to figure out how to MacGyver the whole pipe up. And so we ended up taking plastic from a what do you call it, a shopping bag and some duct tape and duct the heater hose off real well, or the hot water hose, and filled it up with water from the bottle, and we took off and were able to make it. Ingenuity. It forces us to think outside of the box. Many great breakthroughs in history came from overcoming opposition. You can think of great inventions that have helped to do that. They help you also appreciate success more. It makes it more meaningful when you've earned through the struggle, when your merit allows you to enjoy the victory. Overcoming challenges makes your achievements feel more rewarding. An example from history is Amalek as an adversary. This is a perfect example. In this parsha, the Israelites faced Amalek, the nation that attacked them after leaving Egypt. No reason to attack them. They were going to go around them. This adversary tested their faith and unity and ultimately strengthened their resilience in Hashem and their leadership under Moses. The battle against Amalek was not just about a physical survival, but also about defining the nation's spiritual and moral strength, what was guiding them. So I'd like to conclude with this thought. Having an adversary isn't about seeking no conflict. It isn't about seeking conflict in and of itself, but rather embracing the challenges that come your way. Of course, no one wants to be challenged and no one wants enemies. But know when they come, adversity can serve as a catalyst for our personal and professional and spiritual growth to help us develop the resilience and wisdom that we need to drive and succeed. So the challenges that face us ahead in 2025 and the years beyond are not challenges to destroy us, but to improve us and to make us a better people. The challenges that come up in our politics, in our world, our finances, know that all of these are here to improve us and to make us better human beings, better versions of ourselves.